that saved a soul like me. I once was lost and now am found, was blind but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught.
恩怨不消烧明月，几个年我发现春草间难眠，初为上。
To download that show. Hello haters, definite friends of bosses, man. To download that show. Hello haters, definite friends of bosses.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, good to see y'all here. Let me check. All right, I don't see my guests in here yet. Okay, I'll keep checking. I've got a bunch of photos loaded, and so let's see. Oh, wait, here we go. All right, hold on. Hi, Logan.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Busy bee.
Good to see you.
You too.
These storms affecting you?
A lot of rain, but so far managed to dodge a lot of the bad stuff. So
Good. That's good.
overall good.
Yeah, on the most part we have, but right now I am watching some really dark clouds come rolling in, and so hopefully the power holds.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Todd's not in here yet, but I'll tell you what, we'll just go ahead and whenever he comes in, we'll bring him in.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah, tell the audience, introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about your project, just as a reminder.
Okay. So I'm Logan Shesso. I guess I've been into Bigfoot, but really trying to be a researcher probably for the last 4 or 5 years. A little about myself. I kind of got started kind of getting out in the field, less armchair quarterback, 2021, 2020. And ever since then, my interest in activity and everything is like super gauged up, and I'm super into the subject. And I want to, show people that these, if you want to call them beings, are real. And so with that being said, I've basically been working for the last year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, on developing an app and a lot of customized hardware and software to try to push the discovery forward. So it's kind of a camera project with intelligent analysis on the back end, and it's changing a lot. So I keep coding enhancements, and I'm gonna keep coding more stuff. But it's live right now. I'm gonna head out back to British Columbia June the 5th and have put that system back up. I totally redesigned the hardware and the off-grid system. So I have 2 of them kind of stood up right now in my backyard and been testing them and working beautiful. Of course, it's Texas and it's always sunny here, but that was the only difference, is I can't be in Canada to test the sun, but in theory it'll work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there, and also, thanks to you and some other folks in Pennsylvania, I've got 2 sites in Pennsylvania right now. Somewhat close to each other, but they're, I guess you could call them Allegheny zone. I know it's a big area.
Yep.
The people doing it are pretty private, so I'll try not to disclose exact locations, but
Yeah.
so I've got 2 cameras in one spot, and I have an thermal, an optical, and then another optical. And then the other, I call it a more high frequency zone, is an optical and a thermal. I did have another system, try to get it up there configured. I ran this cable for 300 feet to try to get it set up, and it just, I don't know if it's Bigfoot woo or something, but I could not get this thing to come up right. So I just took it back with me. I'm going to go back up there and redo it. And I've even tested it at home, and there's nothing wrong with anything. So I don't know why it wasn't working.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not going to bring the same camera up there, but I am going to try to head back up there so we can have audio. I'm going to try to connect audio to the other camera as well, so we can have
Mm.
full-fledged audio, thermal, optical trifecta of and analytics, because that's really what I was wanting to do. But right now, I think it's a good test bed just for the optics and the thermal. It is there's going to be some noise because it's it's close to a homestead, so we don't want too much stuff. There might be a little bit of static noise, but as far as what we want to hear, as far as the screams and the call outs and the wood knocks, like I need to capture all that. We need the data, so we have to have
Yeah.
some audio there.
Yeah, there's a lot of audio that goes on there between vocals, knocks, and bangs, and so on. That's they're pretty active there. Now, I don't know about the other site, but um, hopefully, I don't know. I've been keeping an eye off and on both areas.
Mhm.
We'll
Yeah, I
see.
think I've definitely caught a lot of wildlife on the other side. Some bears,
Well,
some coyotes, some eagles, a whole lot of deer, a whole lot of
mm,
beaver,
yeah,
a lot of various things. And I think I'm touching most of the touch points every day, running my back end processing. So,
hmm,
but yeah, it's only been up for less than a month, so
yeah.
you can't expect results right away. Although I think we've got maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think we have, between, well, the one video, I kind of have my doubts, but then,
Mhm,
if I see evidence otherwise, I can be convinced. Um, but there are some photos
mhm.
that are pretty good. They're
Yeah,
at a
for sure.
distance, but the shape is there. And I'll be showing I'll be showing the photos, guys, and the video also. So you can go over the video and check it out for yourselves.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Um, and I have some more stuff that I'm just looking at because sometimes the stuff in the distance it's hard to tell conclusively. It's
yeah,
so far out that it might be, I don't know, the head of a bear like 200 feet away. Like it's hard to
yeah,
tell. So I mean, I'll probably post a lot of that stuff here when I like put it all together, right, and let
yeah,
other people decide what it is. But there's a bunch of heat signatures that I can't tell what it is.
yeah, yeah. The
um,
one I was, I took a screenshot while the homeowner, property owner, uh, took a screenshot, couple screenshots, and I took a couple screenshots before this happened. Then just so happened, I got called away and then came back. And by the time I came back, it was all over. But
yeah, and I
um,
and I think those screenshots were from the night. It's either the very next day, the night, or the night of I put it up. And so I had so much to do that weekend because I was setting up both sites. Like it took me like it's a lot of work.
yeah,
So
I can imagine.
to get them to actually record and process, like I have to go into the back end and configure everything. So
Hmm.
I didn't get to do that till that Monday when I flew back. So I would have loved to have not just the still pictures and like the whole footage of what you have, but unfortunately, I
Yeah,
just didn't. I didn't have the time to go like actually configure the entire thing until I
yeah.
got back to Texas. So
Oh,
unfortunately, those are going to be just screenshots, but we'll get more data.
oh yeah, yeah. Because they're there, and this was at the beginning. They slipped up at the beginning. Hopefully, they slip up again. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
Well,
We'll
I
see.
plan on getting like I said, another camera out there. we'll work some more angles. I figured out a way to put things on a cycle where it's all scripted and automated to where it'll turn like 40, 60 degrees and not be, intrusive upon the property owners. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start running that and do some testing with it. I even, as far as the IR goes, I think I figured out a way to look at the moon calendar and then have my process reach out and see if there's any moonlight out and check the weather and the moon. And then if there is, then I'll turn the IR off and it will change all the settings, do all that, turn it
Mhm.
back on in the morning, reconfigure it all. So I'm thinking through the logistics of it pretty hard, trying to make it optimal as possible because everybody has their opinions on IR and everybody has, say in the matter. So I'm just trying to make everybody happy to be there.
Yeah. Well, we really truly don't know about IR. It's a possibility that they can see it, but we don't know. We truly don't know yet.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know. We'll test both sides of it and we'll see if there's more activity one way or the other, right?
No, oh my, and just a matter of, all the improvements, on both the back end and the front end, always working on it. You do such amazing work. I am truly in awe of these cameras to begin with, just the technology on the cameras themselves, and then the work that you do. I took coding way back in the Stone Age.
Hmm.
And what you guys do now is,
Yeah, it's all together. I think it's about 15,000 lines of code, something like that.
mhm,
Which it's a decent amount just to start out with, and that's just the like minimum viable product of
yeah.
what we need to get going. Like by next year, it'll probably double that.
Okay, now here's this shizzle says, I think they pick up on the electronic vibrations. It's a possibility. It's a real possibility. But again, who knows? But yeah, Todd isn't in here yet. So do you want to start with the still photos or do you want to start with the video?
Whatever dealer's choice, right? You go for it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Alrighty. Here, we'll start with the video. Ooh, we go bang right into it. First thing.
Yeah. So I guess while this is playing, just some context, this was probably about, I don't know, say about 7, 8 days after we put the system up. The camera itself, I'd say I haven't done the exact measurement. Like we could probably do that, but it's somewhere between 8 and 9 feet in the air, give or take some inches. And like there's no like tree right in front of it.
Right.
It's kind of like the ground in front of it's kind of on, I would say it's not really like a level ground. It kind of has a tree stump a little far away that's been stumped down and then kind of at an angle.
Mhm.
There's I don't know what kind of grass is up there, but it's short grass until you get to the tree line. So that's kind of a visual picture of kind of where the camera's sitting, and it's on an arm where it's articulated down, right? So the lens is facing, out, but it's on a ball, so it can turn 360, right?
Mhm.
We're not going to turn it 360 because if we turn it the other way, it'll, give away privacy stuff. But, um, but the like the way the RR is, and this, I did some testing with it, and I've seen it and some other things. But if you get real close to the IR light, it'll give this refraction to where if you're like rubbing all the way up against the lens, it'll refract enough to where you can kind of see the inner workings of the lens on the other side of the glass. Which I think I didn't like shine a direct flashlight into it, to be fair, but I think
because
like
that's
just
what that circle looks like. It looks like a refraction from a flashlight,
mhm.
the glare.
But if you get right in front of that light, the IR gets pretty bright and it lights up the lens itself and causes that lens flare.
Okay.
So to me, that's more or less what it would be. In my opinion, like something would have to be pretty close to that lens to do it.
Yeah.
Even like a spider or a moth doesn't really get that refraction. It has to be like something semi big covering most of that front lens up where the light is, where the IR is.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some spiders in front of there that have crawled by and stuff like
Ugh.
that, and they haven't really caused that. But yeah, I mean, as far as that glow and that brightness with the IR on, that's just my perspective. It's something getting really close to the lens. What it is, I don't know. Like, I'm still on the fence. I don't understand this clip, to be fair. So
Yeah.
I am super open to opinions. I'm not saying one thing or the other. I'm just saying it's really weird.
Yeah, it truly is.
Some of the textures are odd, and I get where people say it's a seam, and I get where people say it's some kind of suture. I've tried to like just do some random things, and like I used a football in a couple of
Right.
my hoodies. I can't really get it one for one. Like I have the same camera here, and I was playing with it, and I was kind of sitting in
Mhm.
front of it, going back and forth, and trying to go in and out of frame and make that brightness and everything, and kind of make that, with the hoodie on top, trying to make like a cone head, right?
Right.
But if it was, and you can butt in whenever you need to, Mary. If it was someone in a hoodie, it's weird that they would have their back to the lens and then go up against it backwards.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, a weird scenario. And they'd have to be, like I think you mentioned, they'd probably have to be on a ladder to do that.
Yeah. Or climb up
Mm.
on, because there's a fence, and they could climb up on the fence possibly. I don't know. But
Yeah.
this right here, if you see the edge, that's
Mhm.
not hair.
Yeah, I see like an edge to it and kind
Yeah.
of it's not like, it doesn't not have texture, but
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah.
look like hair. I would agree with you. Like
Yeah.
if anything, it's a fuzz, if
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. It looks, and I think um, and I took video myself. I turned a hoodie inside out, and it kind of reminded me of the fuzzy texture on the inside of a hoodie, and then the seam, and it kind of looked similar. Now there's another section up here where let me get up there. Right there.
Mhm.
That bump, I don't know, could it be the hood laying down? But if it's or a backpack,
I don't know if it was a backpack. I don't know why it would be in the front like that, but anyway, it doesn't. I can't definitively say what it is.
yeah,
It's just so weird to me. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's almost, and I'm open to it being a person, and I'm also open to it being, one of these beings putting something in front of the camera and
Mhm.
going back and forth with it. Like it could be a human object for all I know. They could have found a hoodie and waved it back and forth. I don't know. I don't know. Like it's open to interpretation. I think like some of the first of it, like it's like the texture. I don't know. It's just so weird. Like I could see like the line there, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's why it kind of reminds me of fabric.
Mm-hmm. Like there's a definitive kind of line there, and
Right.
I just wish it would stay in frame, because if it moved a little bit away from the lens and stayed in
Mhm.
frame a little bit longer, it would like autofocus and like you
Yeah.
could tell. But whatever it was going fast enough to where it would brighten it up and not be able to sit there and focus long enough to grab whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's I'm with you. It's weird and
Yeah.
intriguing, and I don't know intent wise.
Yeah, right now all I can think of is some guy out of curiosity snuck up there at night, climbed up somehow, some way, and this rocking back and forth is him either trying to look into the camera or else he's losing his balance.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I think like if it goes like speed wise, it goes like right to left, left to right.
Yeah.
And it's pretty quick. I
Mm.
have like a slowed down version and then the normal speed version. And I think overall it's probably like 30 seconds of clip of this going back and forth. But I don't, if it's in front of there and it has, like if it's a person, like it would be pretty tall and it would be hard to get in front of there and not stay in frame. Like you'd have to move pretty quickly. So you'd almost have to jump, jump from right to left. So I've been thinking of the logistics of it. Like you'd have to go jump from right to left to right.
Right.
And then you'd have to get close enough to the lens as you're doing it to almost rub on the lens without actually hitting the camera.
Yeah.
Because if it hit the camera, you would see like a bump.
Okay. Hey, Todd.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Now-
Sorry, I'm just busy and not home, the other end of the state. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd.
Hey, Logan, how are you? I'm good, thanks.
I'm doing
good. I didn't mean to break your flow.
Oh, no, you're good.
Mary, I sent you those pictures last week, and in that is I did a photograph and a breakdown of measurements. If you want to shoot that one, and I don't have the emails in front of me to resend again, and you know what I mean. So my my extra prep that I always do for everybody, I don't have it tonight. You got me. Right? The work I already did is what you have. I'm sorry, but there is one, and I think Logan, you've seen it, where I can tell you what the height is, because you know that's an 8-foot tall experimental vineyard post that I just kind of pushed in the ground by hand a little bit to stabilize it, and Bill and I always zip tied it on there real strategically in the corner of that chain link dog fence. And then it was like a 3-foot section that I scabbed on, and then another one, but then the camera comes back down. But another caveat as well is right where that dog fence is, the ground starts to rise, and then there's a line of boulders, and what that was it was like a fuel edge 100 years ago, and the rest of it was the start of the forest that the tornado took out 2 years ago. Point being is, I don't know if you remember, Logan, but I had to put the ladder around on the side that would be perpendicular with the house, like behind the camera. And Bill held on to that ladder, because even at that was the most level place. So somebody in the dark covertly sneaking up and throwing up a ladder to do those smooth, fluid motions like that, could be. And also where this camera height is within the sphere of that lens, I think puts like the center of this object, let's call it a head for conversation, at 8 foot. So, and it's still not showing all the top of the head. And that ground is so undulating, and big flat rocks right there that are just, you know, not nice flat rocks like a, you know, stone sidewalk, not like that at all. You know, and somebody at random on a Monday night, 10 to 11, to when all the lights are on, the homeowners are up. He was in the shower. She was awake, and to strategically get in there and with all the other cameras on that property and not get caught, put that ladder up there, and the risk involved, for what benefit? And you know how when you go to debunk things, I have a million more things to say. When you go to debunk things, the simplest explanation's usually the explanation. Well, the simple explanation of this just being a person punking them is not the simple explanation. I don't know what it is, but that somebody climbing anything at all to get that kind of height and that fluid motion, that's tough. And plus, this is right on the corner, so whatever this is rounding that 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
So, and the change of the ground elevation might be 6-8 inches. So still, at minimum, it's let's call it 7 foot. But I'm gonna say it's 8 foot, but we'll go way under. It just, the motivation doesn't make sense, and the motivation. So somebody needs to get their jollies on this, you know, pranking us. Well, the positive, they do that for a feedback, you know, for their ego. Well, yeah. Where's the feedback? You know what I mean? And also what I love too, when you look in the background, that's his pistol shooting range. So, yeah. You know, an intruder, I would think that would be sign number one. You might want to be careful if you're getting in his target range.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you. And I didn't mean to take this over. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, no, because Logan, you know, and we were.
I was listening.
Okay.
Yep. As I was trying to finish getting things set up, and I guess one of these days I just need to set up a dedicated camera location to do this, and I don't have one. And anyhow, I have, because my experiences with whatever's on this property, it always knows the boundaries of everything, and it continues to always test it, play with it, especially lighting, edge of lighting. My personal experiences there over and over and over and over and over. The homeowners, these things, which again, baffles my mind every day. Why? To what benefit? Don't they have anything else better to do? And I'm assuming that this is a Bigfoot that we're talking about. No less if it's somebody that's constantly doing this to them.
Oh, over the years? No.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So I've been also keeping cataloged, Logan, since we put this in. And I've done this loosely along through the years here, but dedicated daily. And I think that there was only 1 or 2 nights where there wasn't some kind of activity. So the things I'm using as qualifying activity is the house flaps of the same type of pattern and locations. Because unless you've been in that house and hit the right things in the house that closely replicate how it sounds inside, and I'm the only one that's been able to do that. Somebody else would have to know where that is. So based upon that, the more handprints, that activity, there's only been 1 or 2 nights that they haven't been there. And so therefore, you know, it's not somebody else. And all those other cameras and trail cameras and nothing on them, just it's mind blowing. But taking somebody to punk out. And as far as the homeowners, there is, hey, either one of those two would do whatever they need to do to save themselves or to help somebody else. But to do something like this and climb a ladder, no way. And if they did a really good job at confusing us.
Well, you know, humans are,
yes,
they're pretty motivated.
No, I disagree with that, actually. My observation through the years, I think that's actually, well, you know, there's 2 sides to everything.
Whenever it comes to this,
that could be.
Years,
that's true. That's true. Yeah. I know, like, when I think of the tree structures and things I see everywhere and the consistency of them, it's like people aren't that motivated. They're not out there being Les Stroud doing bushcraft. My sons and I, yes, but only a few times ever. We haven't done it all across the country.
Yeah, well, there's people out there, you know, they will trespass. They will do all they can to steal evidence, to steal, you know, whatever you have, to steal the technology, for one thing. They may have been checking that out to attempt to steal, you know, the cameras, because, you know, that's
a concern of mine.
That's a hunting area.
Yeah, that's a concern.
And but yeah, for someone to be motivated to hoax, you know, if it's a possible hoax, believe me, there's the usuals, you know, stompers, you know, shoes that people put on and so on, the wood stompers. But people, a friend of mine, personal friend of mine, whenever he was a teenager, he sewed himself out of felt and furry type fabric a Bigfoot costume. And he would stand by the roads, run across the roads. And he says, even now, there are reports on the North Carolina BFRO site that are him. You know, and this went on for years until he ran into the wrong guy who chased after him with an axe.
Oh.
For a couple months.
He was motivated.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
But see, that's also kind of back to my thinking was, so there's reports, he's getting that positive feedback for the motivation, where like this, I don't see where they're getting it. And playing jokes. Oh yeah, I'm all about that. I don't know if you caught that last night, what I was saying, but pretty sure my sons and I and my other neighborhood sons, let's say, the 4 of us, I'm pretty sure we've been ghost on the Gettysburg battlefield. They're in a reenactment out there with our kit middle of the night and with an artillery piece, practicing the 5 position of loading. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position, and reloading. When a car comes by, you just freeze. You don't do anything. And all the cameras go off and they drive off. We just take off. But there's feedback. We got laughs out it and we scared people. So hence the motivation and the reward. Oh, that was a lot of fun. We actually caused an accident one time.
Oh my goodness.
That was rewarding, hearing that tail light break, because they went to turn around so fast, little round top actually, and backed into a boulder to go back and get more pictures of that company of ghosts that they saw.
No, I remember there's a group of 2 brothers, the Kling brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've heard of them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And
ear queuing.
Yeah.
Era queuing, and I
Yes.
100% agree with that. And that's where we used to do that.
Yeah.
And it works.
I think their first experience was at Gettysburg.
Yes. Great footage.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, it
footage.
really is.
And they're the ones that actually put that term, put a term to it. But it's precisely what we would do. Would be, I didn't have a name for it, era queuing, but when we would garrison like Fort Niagara, Fort Ontario, and it's really cool to sleep in the fort, but we'd be in our kits, doing our role, doing living history, and to be able to shoot a volley out from that casemate that hasn't had that sound in 150 years, and the dust and the bats go flying everywhere.
Right.
It's just, again, really rewarding. I'm sorry, I'm off the subject.
That's okay. Now, I've got, let's see, I took some screenshots. Well, I stopped on the footage also, froze it on the footage to see, it's that line there. And this looks like fuzzy fabric, the inside of a hoodie or a sweatshirt, this fuzzy. It's because it's not hair. But, who knows?
And it almost looks like it's porous to me, which, when Logan did that attempted recreation with the hoodie and stuff, you could really see the difference. I don't know what it is. I know that there was a storm rolling in. I thought about all those dynamics. Doesn't mean that my conclusions are right, but I'll tell you one observation I have that's been proven over and over at this location is they will take advantage of that weather right then and there and move close in on it. And with that rain and wind, Grandma Bigfoot and I were just talking one of these storms not too long ago. Well, that's going to send them off. And then it was moments later, there was a house slap. And I've experienced that there many times with the snow. During the weather event, they'll move. But then, like I say, you go back to a recon force or snipers, you're going to use every advantage. And that's what was happening right then. That thunderstorm was just starting to come in. But if you watch the trees, there is not enough wind. Let's say that was some kind of a fleece jacket to get that aloft and to come back and forth, not go up or down, or back and forth, and actually technically around a corner a little bit like that. It's intriguing, but play the other pictures. I believe we got a lot better stuff than this thing is testing the camera, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now this, sorry, the photo's not larger, but this is what Grandma Squatch and I saw first. We were watching the deer. Both of us, we were watching this live, and there was this herd of deer going through the woods. And then all of a sudden you see the buck rearing up and the rest of the deer running off. And then he ran off. And I got called away for something. I can't remember what it was. I had to step away from the computer. And whenever I came back, she sent me this. And so I zoomed in.
Yeah, that was Sunday night. That was Sunday at 5 a.m. We didn't have the digital going yet. The Logan wasn't able to capture the data. That's a screenshot. Yeah, and I sent you some edited ones of those.
Yeah, I really like this because the stance.
So that was in those photos they sent.
I mean, really, there's the butt. There's Dave's butt. Dave.
Yeah, Bargo.
Whenever he and Cliff commented about the, was it Cliff said Bigfoot or Sasquatch got
big butts.
Big butts, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I sent also video and some pictures of this as well. I located that location which honestly was easy for me because it was already one of my pre-identified
Yeah.
Of their several points
Yeah.
of view, and it's where they stage in, and it's just coming up over. So in other words, I'm sure there's footage when you'll just see a head popping up and probably crawl along and then start walking. But there is a logging road there that goes back to the swamp. So this is another thing I've noticed. Wherever they stand, what I've observed too is there'll be a smaller X, just like a target. Like they're making this triangle that is meant for others to look through. There is a like a street sign there. This is just repeated. I think it's really cool. But anyhow, over in that corner, that is going from southwest. That creature appears to be headed to the northeast. Well, that's the prevailing wind in particular on this property. And because of the shape of how the hill, the arrow, whatever, y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Anyhow, the trees that fall naturally, they're laying there are the opposite direction than what that one is behind. So I wasn't trying to be confirmation bias that, you know, hey, it was standing in one of my spots. No, it was finding a limb that was tree trunk that was that size, that position, approximate depth that could be seen by the camera. So I had grandpa Bigfoot out by the camera so I could see where it was, and then she would be looking at me on the video with the FLIR trying to line up. There weren't any screenshots of that taken. I was really hoping so I could see too. And so that's 350 feet back. And there's a couple more pictures. In the first couple nights, we got some good stuff back there before he was able to capture the data. And fortunately, Robin was watching and did a screenshot. It's been compelling.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I was looking through the photos that you had sent me. All I see is ones for your handprints and then the chewing.
Yeah, there was. It was last week when I saw them, so I don't remember. Mary, I'm sorry, where they are within the order and.
Yeah, or what it's called.
Yeah, they were labeled.
Yeah, here's one called Kill Box.
Yeah, that's part of it too. It's
that's
funny.
Other property.
Yeah, those are all other stories. But there was let's say 5 chapters, and it's like we haven't still got to this chapter yet.
Yeah. Well, you and I will have to go over these maybe in a following show.
I still got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna that audio is compelling, and I'm gonna play it. I want somebody to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I really like this one. Oh man, you know, too bad he wasn't any closer, you know, to get any, you know, detail on him. But just this alone to get the shape, you know, because there's the head thrust forward.
How that lean, isn't that lean exactly right?
Yeah, it is.
Yep. And I did a lot of cleaning up with that, and it stays solid. And actually, you can see it a little bit on this. So let's assume this thing, we're seeing it from its side. The ball of the shoulder, where you would assume that would be, actually, it looks like it's even a little bit hotter. And I've shared those with you, Logan, as well. I mean, at a quick glance, it looks like that. I'll play with these pictures, trying to make things go away. Like you can make different shades of light, shadows, and things going. But when there's something that's a solid object, aside from bark or a leaf, it's like I can make those go away. But if a person or a horse or something like this is there, it looks different in the contrast, and it will remain no matter how I blur it up. It doesn't explain what it is, but it's for real.
Okay. Now I just zoomed in on my phone a little bit more, so I don't know if I can.
Logan, don't you have some of the zoomed in ones?
I have a bunch of them that I'm trying to just put into a video. I don't have them in front of me right now. I wouldn't say they're, unless we're talking about this one, I wouldn't say they're as good as, I'd say it's more of like some kind of head popping up.
Oh, play that. I love that. So this is the same location.
Yeah, he would have to send that to me.
Yeah, so I'll try to send some of that stuff to you, Mary.
Okay.
Like I said, it's hard for me to say definitively what what some stuff is if it's so far out. The thermal will pick it up, but it, like, the closer the better, obviously. But there's a lot of instances where I see a heat signature come into frame, and it's just close to I think it's kind of close to where that drop off is, and it comes up and goes away.
Yep.
And I've seen some deceptive stuff on there too, where I'm like looking with the property owner, I'm like, what is this? And I'll sit there and watch it for 20 minutes, and it looks like it's getting really big and it's moving, and then the leaves are coming in now, so it's kind of getting, it's chopping off some things. And I sat there and looked at this one thing the other night for 30 minutes, and I'm like, I don't understand what this is. And then eventually you see this coyote roll through, and I'm like, okay, if that was a deer, it would have ran away. I don't understand.
You would
and
think,
then like,
right?
And then the 10 seconds later, you just see 3 deer pop up, and they all take off, right? So, that's the good thing about having the video is, you can look, at least as long as it's in frame, you can see if it ever forms into an animal and like debunk it, right? But some things I can't debunk, and then a lot of the times you can kind of tell the deer move from, that most of the times they're going left to right or right to left in that area, and they don't generally bed down right there a lot. Like, they're pretty much on the move. But I think, yeah, I've got a couple of coyotes, some other small animals, field mice, birds, I think a few bear. And yeah, there's just a whole lot of stuff there, but I'm trying to get some comparative analysis so I can like get those out of the parsing engine, the ones that are obvious, and then kind of move towards the other one. But they're still fun to watch, to be honest. Like, I'll sit there and watch some deer in a thermal because honestly, they're pretty. And I was really surprised that coyote didn't scare off 3 deer because it was 10 feet from them, and
right.
I don't.
Right.
I didn't quite understand why they weren't moving. But yeah, I'm trying to make just a bunch of small clips of interesting things. That, like I said, unless it's something close to this nature and it's coming towards the camera, or it's coming into frame and it's obviously not a person and it's obviously 8 feet tall, I can't ever say, yeah, this is definitely a Bigfoot, because that's just not good science. But that's why I'm speculative on the other thing, because I'm never going to say like, yeah, this is for sure a Bigfoot, even though that footage is kind of just super weird.
No matter.
So if someone's trying to trick me, it's more or less like, I'm not going to just come out and say this is definitely a Bigfoot and end of story. I don't know. I'm not one to do that unless it looks super, super convincing. Right. And even though so, it's, there's a lot of data there's about 2-3 terabytes of data coming through every month now.
Wow.
So the CPU cycles has its work cut out for it, going through every single bit of that. And then I still have to humanize, look at some of the output. So that's why I said, like, it's a lot better if I can get people, like a lot of people, looking at this at the same time.
Yes.
So,
yes. I want to definitely validate that, because Mary, all of us are when we're seeing something like this, I got to tell you, we have a lot of fun texting each other about it.
Oh
What
my
is
goodness.
it? The critical thinking.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun, but it needs more people because we tend to only watch a certain time because of availability. It needs more people on. And I'll tell you, Logan, I think this is a great idea you have. And Mary, you've said in the past how this can make people that want to be out in the woods
Right.
to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And it's the price of a cup of coffee
Exactly.
a month.
And it's an app that you can load on your phone.
And it has to be that way.
Yeah, either Android or iPhone. And it's the Bigfoot Livestream project, I think is what it's called. Bigfoot Livestream.
Yeah, it's just called Bigfoot Livestream. But I guess the project is pretty much what it is. That's what it is.
And so, guys, get on your app store and at least check it out. Heck, check it out for a month, and get on there, and at all times of the day and night, and see what you can find. Because you never know. It's just you may find something like this, or the figure who's the mysterious figure.
And there's 2 of those pictures. He's in a different position around the same time, and there could be a discovery of Logan, you're referring to that coyote walking right past those deer. And I'll tell you, there was a moment looking at that had a long feline slump, and it looked like what might have been seen was that real thick tail of a cougar. And there's cougar sightings there. How exciting that would be to see. Well, to me, that would be really cool to discover and document wildlife. Unknown wildlife.
Okay, Patty is asking what the temperature was that night. For this one, I was looking on the deer photo because that was the same night.
It was 50, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. There's 2 temperatures on the corners, upper and lower on the right side. The one on the lower right side says 36 degrees Fahrenheit, but from memory, I think it was right around 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's just telling you what the temperature is, like the lowest temperature in the field of frame, and then the highest temperature is what it's showing. So anything that's hot, it'll try to figure out what the surface temperature is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because there's
it was cool. It was cool.
Showing 98.9 for the upper right, which is weird.
Yeah, that is interesting, right?
Over by that shoulder that I was saying.
Yeah.
Because if you work on your color scale, you can get that white image to create different values of intensity. And actually, I can see it. It's right hip where that would be.
Yeah.
You can tell.
And I can change if people want me to, I can change the thermal to not be white black or white hot, or it can be. There's different variations of rainbow and stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff, but I just think the contrast is good this way. Open to suggestions.
Yeah, personally, I prefer the black and white and the gray scale rather than colors, because that can get confusing. Although the red hot, who knows? What do you guys think?
Well, what's nice when you're a member of this, you can, and that's a really cool thing too, is that report sighting. Mary, do you have a photo that shows on the bottom, that red bar there with report sighting or something?
Yes.
And I've typed in there before, saying that there was something at a certain time, but made a mention of, can you turn the camera a little here or play with that pinwheel, and it's a way to communicate with Logan, and he's quite responsive, considering dad business and everything, the reality of life, and
Right.
open to changing it. And so again, this needs more people seeing it, because I know there's more things going on there.
Yeah.
And it could be some subtle things too. And we're gonna see those balls of light. Actually, I meant to mention that, Logan. My experience of filming them with the FLIR up at my other location, they actually are an absent of heat, and they're actually a black ball. So I keep forgetting to mention that. So if you see something that's strange that goes through there that looks like, just keep your eye open for, because this is where we see those balls of light on this property. I've only seen them a couple times there, but.
And I have seen the black go by, but I can't.
Really?
I was trying to debunk it and say maybe it's a bug. So I don't know, because this thermal auto zooms in a certain zoom level, and the other one I have kind of scaled back a little bit, just because the tree line's kind of close, and I can zoom. I was when I was up the other night and I was seeing all those weird heat signatures, I was trying to zoom through the trees and get through the tree line and the cracks to get to it.
Yeah.
So if anyone was watching it, they could see the thermal, and I was zooming in with the thermal and I was zooming in with the optical at the same time. But yeah, I've seen some stuff on there that goes by that's black.
Interesting.
Which is weird. But you know, like I said, I'm an optimist at heart, but sometimes, you know, it's like, well, it could be a bug. I can't say that it's not.
Yeah.
But you know, it's pretty obvious when it's a bird or something. They still have heat.
Right.
And I have seen some decent bugs fly by, right? Like they're not small. So I don't think bugs give out a lot of heat. So
yeah, I've seen them fly by on there, and I've taken photos. I think in the Ghost Hunter TV shows, the different ones, they call, can't remember what they call this one. It's like a squiggle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that is?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, and of course I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, and that's a bird and a bug, but the way the camera catches it, it looks like a line, and it's fluttering almost like like a squid does. Yeah.
Yeah, because I took a photo of a bug with my Nikon, and it turned out exactly what all those ghost hunter shows were calling.
Rods.
Yes, a rod. That's what it was. But it's a bug. That's all it is. It's a bug. But it just goes to show you guys how things get distorted, and people sometimes will jump immediately to what their thought process is, you know, what they're hunting for, you know, like, it's
the confirmation bias. Yeah.
Thank you. Or it's a Bigfoot.
But it could be too.
It could be, you know, it's like this.
Yeah.
So this is the fun of this. So like Logan has named it a collaboration, and it is truly what's happening here. And look at the three of us learning from each other something, and these black balls of light. I only mention it. I don't know that's how they look all the time here, but when I was able to capture them at my other location with an iPhone, with an IR recorder, and with a FLIR, the same devices in my eyes at the same time, and that those balls of light were in the same location, but each media captured it differently, and had a harder time with the IR, and because there was what looked like an absence of heat. So that's only why I mentioned it. Right on that tree line where you're at is where we've all seen them. That tree line of the house and the yard, and the ones I've seen there, They've been really quick. They've been smaller ones, but these things are all different size. When I say smaller, as in like softball, apple size. The ones at my other place, I don't know how big they are. They're big.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You've been there, but they were a little far off. But yes, you
Yeah,
have
they
seen
were,
that.
but no matter what, you could tell those were big.
Yeah, that's right. We got to get back there.
I know we do. Well, maybe
Yeah.
sometime this summer.
We have to.
Yes.
I've been trying to talk Logan into putting a camera up there, but that's definitely a solar operation.
Well, the field at least is wide enough. You would get enough sunshine out in the field.
It's perfect for everything.
Yeah.
But it does need solar though, but the lights there, the sun angles there,
Yeah.
platform.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do have the off-grid stuff figured out. So
Okay.
Yeah.
if it comes down to it, we can do it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm trying to work on some other areas for you, Logan.
I want to get, at least, I know I'm going to have 3 sites, but I want to get it's, I don't know, 4, 5, 6. It just, honestly, it depends on, I can probably swing that much, but after that, like, group participation here.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, just the monthly bill is going to go up and up because every time I re-architect, it just goes up and up and up. And you got to think about how much data I'm pumping through all these Starlinks, and then how much is going into the back end, and how much is processing, and then how much is stored. It just, it's, I made it reasonable, right? As I could.
Yep.
As architect, it's reasonable, but it's it scales with people, right? If people like it and want to do it, we can have a whole lot.
I'm on retirement Social Security, and what I get is below poverty level, and I can afford that little bit per month, to get on that app, because it's worth it. I mean, really, the reward. You think risk and reward, but for me, I mean, right here, this photo right here, for me, that right there, just.
Yep, and the other one is like that at the same time.
Yeah.
Logan, you don't need anybody giving you more ideas, but just what we're talking about gave me an idea that at some time. So like for us, it's been this enjoyment of the community and communicating on what we're seeing. I don't know if this holds the potential on that when you're seeing something, report sighting, but to have a common chat within that too, to bring people to even together more in a community. Just a thought, or tie it to Facebook. I don't know.
I've thought about it. I don't want people to. There's caveats to it because I don't want people to get on just to bully other people, right?
Okay.
You're right.
And
you're right.
I do have it to where if you comment on videos, it will give your email address out on the comment, right? So I do want it to have some accountability.
Yeah.
Right. I know an email address doesn't say who you are, but if that's your email address and you actually like it, like you probably shouldn't be making a bunch of bold statements for no reason. That's
right. That's excellent.
But like if to have a chat feature like YouTube and stuff, like there's so many people out there that just want to be hateful, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's a catch-22. Like if people really wanted that functionality, I could do it.
How about a link to a Facebook? And then that way you could dump the group or whatever, have control like Mary, don't you have?
I've got 20,000 members on my group. And, hey, if you want a group for there, as much as I don't have the time, I would moderate it for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? If we can grow up big enough, maybe I can just get you on board with me, Mary.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be something. But yeah, it's, I don't know. There's a thin line between annoying people and actually trying to do research and like find and be discovery. So
Yeah.
you can turn it into a social platform, or you could try to
Yeah.
make it somewhere in between of,
Right.
trying to find something. So I'm trying to find that delicate balance and not
Yeah,
make people annoyed with me.
right. It would have to be,
Yeah.
and not to annoy you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there would have to be science.
Mm-hmm.
Because and some very knowledgeable people, on photos and video and camera capabilities, and I've got quite a few people like that in my group that I kind of turn to, and so it.
And I do. I've been just swamped with like work and just life, but I do have it programmatically working right now on the back end to where it's I'm gonna have the last 2 weeks of video for each one of these streams published to the app, right? So if you really do want to go look at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, you'll be able to, right? So you
Cool.
don't necessarily have to watch it live. Although I think I'm a avid user of it, so I'll sit there and watch it before I go to bed, or I'll look at it every
Yep.
now and then.
Yep.
And I,
Yeah.
I'm looking for like hot sequences of activity, so I can see that in the data sometimes. So I have a, maybe I have an advantage to people because I can start seeing the patterns. I'm gonna try. So the next like release and stuff I'm trying to get the patterns published to everyone. So I mean, you can think of it as an event thing, like a Ring camera, but the Ring camera is so frustrating. Like I don't really want like this stream of events like they do, or like that. Like I want it to be more of an analytical graph of events.
Yeah.
And it'll evolve based on what people really want. But it'll be like an event that I want to make clickable to go directly to that video, directly to that like frame. But like it's gotta evolve to that. So at first it's gonna just be a lot of data to where you can go to that video on demand and go check it out, right? Because you don't necessarily always want to go to the exact moment of movement. Sometimes you want to go to like 15 minutes before that, right? So
Mhm.
it's that's a good thing about having all the data, is that I believe that we need everything. Like event driven stuff is not perfect. Like you lose a whole lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
the algorithms aren't perfect. So I'm trying to use all that data to make a better algorithm to make it more efficient.
Mhm.
But if anyone uses like Ring cameras and stuff, they'll know that like it gets it wrong a lot and it misses things and it doesn't actually see 30 feet back or
Right.
subtle movements. So it's you can't really use off the shelf stuff. You kind of have to customize it to make it work right. So it's all a work in progress, but that'll be there. There's like I'm really digging the thermal. Like I wanted to do thermal since I started this, and I think it's just awesome to have that dual view of thermal optical.
Yes.
So and another guy, I don't know how I'm gonna work this. Like I might have to do a Kickstarter or GoFundMe or something. But another guy mentioned Bill, and I'm talking to some folks on the side trying to figure out pricing. But like there's some people doing LiDAR for wildlife, like detection, right?
Okay.
So if I could shoot some LiDAR into some fields and then actually have that as another data point. So you have the thermal, optical, sound, and or audio and LiDAR, right?
Oh my.
I think that would be super awesome. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that and how to pump that into the system. I gotta I reached out to a few people just because people give me ideas and I'm running to go try to chase it down and see if it's doable or not. So the guy Bill, he's really good at giving me suggestions. Okay, let me go email him and see what it costs and how I can figure this out and if it's doable. So I think
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is crazy good idea.
Yes.
And I think it needs to be a standalone because, in my opinion, from my experience with these things, you know, we got more interesting stuff in the beginning. That, and I know there's limitations to it, but in Todd's perfect world, the IR would be a separate camera in a separate place. The night vision would be a different one. But Logan's absolutely right. It's nice to overlap because I find myself doing that to figure something out, jumping in between the two. But I've the only thing I've been able to trick them some with is the IR. Excuse me. I'm sorry. A little bit more has been with a thermal. And the LiDAR, holy smokes.
I know.
And because let's say that they are cloaking or something like that, you can't, how do you hide from that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. And then there's some articles. The one I read it, I think it's a Chinese company, but they're doing, you know, they developed it so they could like, you know, really do a lot of wildlife detection and poaching and stuff, right? So if you can catch a human on LiDAR, you can catch a Bigfoot on LiDAR, technically, if they're, you know, I think they're physical.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I know there's people in different genres of that, but I think for the most, I mean, they're physical to me. So I think it's a good idea. So
I think so. Even whenever they are so-called cloaking, I think that they still are physical. They're still there. And so, yeah, in my humble opinion, non-scientific, at least what I've researched myself, that they're still physical. So it would still pick them up.
And it'd be something that they're not used to. So back to why we're originally here is that's been our experience, how they, and a lot of other people, they test the parameters of whatever, where that motion light picks up, this, that, the other thing. They test it out. You know, we could go into the gifting stuff that I've been doing and my rubber chickens. And I don't know if you remember me leaving that on the deck there, and I photograph where I leave it right on it, date, location, its number. And it would, a little yellow squeaky rubber ducky showed up with it. So it acquired a friend along with it. And that is right behind that camera. And they are now, something is patting that grass down to that chain link fence that's, you know, and the post is here, and just smashing that grass right down, something flat-foot, because as deer concentrate in the path, they actually muck the dirt up. And this is something like with big flat feet. And I think, Logan, you would agree, if you wanted to sneak by that camera, would actually be walking right close to the post and under it is how you would get past it, right?
yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Okay, DeShizzle says ultrasound disruption barriers could hide them from wider imaging.
Huh. Did not know that. Your wife knows a little bit of ultrasound.
Yeah, she's good with that. I can ask her. She's done ultrasound for about 12, 13 years. So
yeah,
good.
She's interested in the LiDAR stuff too.
Okay, good. Good. Hey, it's helpful to have someone in the.
Yeah, I can't say I'm an expert in everything. So I definitely, there's so many people that are smarter than me. So
I don't know many.
No, that's not true. There's so many good people out there. There's some brilliant people.
Yeah.
So I'm just tenacious. Like, I just don't give up. So that's my plus side. I'm never gonna say I'm the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, I'm tenacious also. Sometimes too intense for people I know, but when I get on this subject, I am. Mary's seen me. I think you've seen me. I'm a man on a mission.
Yes.
And I get a hyper focus and
same here. I get tunnel vision here.
Yeah.
Something. It's tunnel vision. Yeah.
Somebody had asked a question, Northwest Native Tracker, if we had found any stick patterns on the ground, and I think something else.
Yeah, glyphs or
It's a little hard to see where the areas I've suggested for Logan to point the camera at is I have for multiple reasons, but
I
so
know
like
where
where the camera was at last week behind, I refer to as the Hasty Works. The blind is right next to that.
yes.
But there is a nice big tree break there. There is a nice big arc
Mm-hmm.
where Logan and we had mounted that camera with the sound, but the Bigfoot gremlins denied us. Remember the view that I picked for that? And there's a huge tree break, tree structure, huge arch. And yeah, everything that he's asking about, these tree manipulations, absolutely, it's there. And Logan, I think you saw how I showed you, as they get closer, the sign gets smaller.
Yeah.
And the closer that they get, or closer that maybe you are to that little viewing portal. Oh, hey, I've been looking for a word for that. I've been calling it a window, different thing. I'm going to call it a portal. But anyways, you'll notice that the little stick structures start getting smaller. Like, your gun sight, and that further one's smaller. Well, actually, it would look like this, aiming you in. So yes, absolutely. And not only on this property, we get the tree ties weaving together that you'll see on my other podcast with her, or behind me in the background. And Logan,
I've got some good photos of those. Yeah.
Logan, you want to share the story when I first
took
you the first steps into the woods on tour?
Yeah, so we were just kind of getting a tour from Todd, and Bill and I were, and he was talking just a bunch of stuff, and then he started talking about I don't know what kind of trees they are, but you're talking about where they're tying these trees together and like these little knots, and they're trying to tie the limbs together, and he's going over it, and we just kind of look above us like, oh, there's one right there.
Right above my head.
Right. It's like this perfect thing right above him. And like, it was very intricate and, not natural for sure.
No.
So yeah, I don't see trees tying together like that ever. So it was really interesting. I think Dave took that with him, maybe.
I did.
Okay, you took it with you. Okay, but
I'm collecting them, but they may end up with it.
Yeah, but it's super cool.
But I harvested it.
I haven't seen. There's not mostly Douglas fir and some others and pine trees up in British Columbia, so it's not a lot of trees like that. But I haven't seen that personally, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd taken a bunch of photos of them a few years ago, and showed those to Kumbo, and he said, yeah, he's seen something like that before in other places, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But as for glyphs, stick patterns specifically on the ground, laid on the ground, whenever I first started at that property back in 2018, I did find a few actual glyphs, at least possible glyphs.
Where?
I think they would have been more to where the tree limbs are, the hunting blind.
Yep.
It would be more not there though, not there. More across, maybe about 50 yards to the left.
The opposite.
Up there, yes.
Yep, those are the two places I find them too.
Yeah.
Yep, and the tree weaves. So so Northwest got me thinking with these glyphs, because I have this one video, that sugar shack at my other place, when I was in there casting the track, they were outside and they'd made a glyph right in my path as I had to walk out. And that means that they used it with the material that the guy was with me with the loppers cut coming in while we were in there. And he came in through boards that were torn off, ducked down, and I walked a long way out, and that glyph with some of the sticks that he cut, because this footprint we were casting, it was neat because it showed how it was going over this root, how the foot was deflecting where ours just don't bend like that. And I also brought the loppers in there because I wanted to include that with it. And walking out, I saw that, called my buddy Dave over to it. As soon as we walked up to it together, both acknowledged it. Pow! There was a tree knock. But anyways, I was filming that, talking with him a couple of years ago about that. And he's like, well, I thought you were, I was showing a tree weave. He goes, well, that's what I was pointing out that was over your head. I was looking down at the glyph.
Yeah.
And just like Logan, when we had walked in there, you guys can see I'm kind of stiff necked. I don't look up really well. And I was telling the story, what happens in this location and what the homeowner experienced. It all started here. And I think you and Bill were like, well, like what? So I was looking for a couple limbs pulled together, and I look up, there's one right above my head. But anyways, the takeaway from this is when we see those glyphs, and when I see the glyphs on the ground again, I got to look up. That's my takeaway, because that nice one I had on the ground, the fellow that was with me said there was one above my head. And Logan, where I showed you that one, right there on the grounds where I find them. And it looks like, I don't know if it was the Rush album 2112, the way the graphic red label was. And it looks like an A, and sometimes sort of like encircled. It looks like a rune writing. Mm-hmm. And pretty consistent looking. What do the ones look like that you see besides the starbursts that are interwoven? What do you see, Mary? Do you see like an A?
Okay, yeah, I took photos of those. Yep.
I think I took those. Yeah.
No, these I took.
Really? I got the exact same. I had the same thing happen when I was there. Exactly like that, Mary. Tied right to the handle of that. Yep. Wow. Yeah. Repeatability.
I've got, oh goodness, there's another one, and I'm digging way back in my.
Can you zoom that in? I want to point something out. I was trying to tell Logan about this.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. All right, here's another one.
Well, this one, the other one may have it, but you got another one zoomed in. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me. All right, hold on a second. No, not that.
Well, while she's digging, what I observed is besides the total contradiction of all the handprints I get looks like a primate's hands. However, the thumbs of these things are longer than what your regular ape is, let's say. And they have their dexterity like this, not like this. Whatever's doing this with our dexterity, and you have those sausage-like fingers. I don't know how they're doing it without breaking it. I have a hypothesis that just like the tree bows, making those tree bows, get them to sit. It's like working that wood, breaking the microfibers like this in smaller sections. It's kind of like what they do with this, because when these things are alive and supple, it's still hard not to crack them, no less tie them together with a smooth arc. But what I'll notice too is where it's got to be the sebum is touching the leaves, because we've found them like within 45 minutes of them being made. For reasons why we qualify that time.
Yeah, you
can see immediately how it's starting to die. And it's not the same as in like, how you give it like an Indian burn or whatever you want to call that, that friction. It's like a chemical burn. Can you zoom in on that a little bit? Because I think you can see it underneath inside that knot.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's on the top one. You can see it.
Okay, you can see the knot, on there.
Yeah. And there's a leaf that's a different color that looked like it just suddenly just started dying rapidly, but it still has the chloroform in it because it's still that bright green. It hasn't lost that with the time. It died for another reason. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I know those were big words for me, but
no, it's super cool though. I mean, definitely unusual behavior.
That's Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's
But it's consistent behavior, though.
something to look for, right? If you're not looking
Yeah.
for it, you might even miss it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you've seen how tuned in I am. And it's weird because at the same time, I miss the complete obvious. But I'll tell you, once you start getting an eye for this and start learning, it's there. These things are just like not just hunting a deer, not just hunting a buck, hunting a big one. There are subtle differences, but that information, it's there. They leave sign. They're an animal.
Most definitely, yeah. Yeah. And unacknowledged, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, they do communicate with glyphs, and there's some of us who have been working on interpreting or attempting to interpret the glyphs, and I think that there's a researcher in Ohio. His Facebook page is House of Enoch. And I think he has done a little bit more work, and I think he succeeded at least partially, possibly, on interpreting at least some glyphs, possibly.
What's an example?
There's, I don't have a photo of one, but there's one that looks like an A.
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
you've seen that. I think that's
Yep. I get precisely.
Yeah, that's the most common one.
Yep.
And there's other glyphs that whenever you look at them, they really make no sense. But if you compare them to a local topographical map or a map like Google Earth, where it shows trails, footpaths in the woods and rivers and creeks and roads, the sticks match up with the game trails, with the creeks, with the roads. They've made a map, an actual map with these glyphs.
Interesting. You went mute, Mary?
Pardon me?
Maybe it's the time delay because I'm looking at another screen here. I thought you went mute. I'm sorry.
No.
I think it was the time delay between that screen. My screen to the left's easier for me to see. Sorry.
Okay, let's see here.
And the other thing too is when people are looking at these, just notice the Dean put it in good words. The triangles. Yeah, he's absolutely right. But more precisely, they tend to be more of a equilateral triangle. So like a 33-degree or a 60-degree triangle of these formations. And like what I was starting to talk about, the one image that you've seen so far with that log going through it, that's opposite of all the prevailing wind tree fall. That incorporates when you're on the other side looking towards the camera. It's all this series of equilateral triangles, different sizes, going right to the camera. Yes. So that log, the lower end's to the right, but everything in that, not everything, but the majority of everything falls from the low side left, high side right. Yeah. So they're making these subtle, my opinion, from observation, but again, it's my opinion, that's all. They're making changes that are different than what's in that vertical world and horizontal world. There's like if you really I spent a lot of time in the woods in a tree stand just staring into this. So you start to notice this stuff, but they make angles that are opposite of what you see in the world there. I don't know how. It's my ADD superpower brain, and I'm probably wrong, but see if anybody else notices.
Mary, I'm probably gonna have to sign off here in a second.
Yeah,
I need to help do a handful of things.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on here for as long as you have. And I know family calls.
Yes.
Yeah,
One last question, Logan, for all of us while we're there. So coming up soon is the Forest County Bigfoot Festival, which is spectacular. Mary's going to be speaking there. I'll be
No,
hanging
I'm
out
not.
with her.
I keep saying I'm not going to be there. I had to back out.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
I've
Oh. Well,
mentioned.
I am way behind on my social media because I've been swamped too.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I know this weekend there was a whole bunch of threads that I'm way behind.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because
I'm
of my
sorry.
health. That's okay. I had to back
Oh,
out. And yeah, there's absolutely no way that I would be able to do, let alone a three-day weekend at a festival.
yeah.
But actually walking from my booth up to
Oh,
the stage, climbing up on a stage, and speaking for an hour would be totally beyond my strength.
and that risk of all those people and getting something respiratory.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I
Okay.
truly am not. It's
Okay.
just my strength is just not there.
Wow.
It
Wow.
really
I'm
is.
so sorry. All right, Logan, we need to touch base on this, how I can help you with this. I got some ideas, maybe how I can help propel this project that I would think that all these other Bigfooters would be on board with one form or another.
Yeah.
Because this is fun. It's different. There's nothing like this
Yes.
going on. And
I find myself falling asleep. You know, I'll turn it on. I'll turn on the screen, and I'll fall asleep at night. You know, with trying to watch that.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, whatever people want to like give ideas or give if they have good locations, I'm still super open to good, active, high frequency locations. Like the more data points we can get, the better.
with power.
Well, either way, right?
Yeah. Power
I mean,
preferred.
if it has power, you know, it's more cost efficient for me. But if it's a super great location, like, you know, I do have the capability to get it out there and just have this cohesive rig put together, and it'll work. So it's, you know, it's really just about the community coming together and not fighting with each other, in my opinion.
Right. Right.
And, you know, just getting it out there. And I'm super open to collaborate with whoever wants to, or, you know, open to ideas, open to comments. You know, tell me what we're doing wrong. We'll try to fix it. And, you know, other than that, it's just the Bigfoot live stream. It's out there on Apple. It's on Android. Eventually I'll get a website. I'm new age. I don't have a website. I'm new school. I'll get one built for it, just to give some more descriptive, but everything for the most part about it is on the app. My contact is on the app, on the email. So just contact at bigfootlivestream.org. If anyone wants to get a hold of me.
You read my mind, Mary. And what's cool too is so there's already a couple locations, a couple cameras. So, and it's really fast to sign on to. I mean, once you're logged in with it, you just open it up, boom, it'll come right on. You pick your different cameras you want. You bounce in between them. And the more participation that he has, the more people that join this, the more ADD choices that we can have bouncing around different cameras and locations, and it's fun.
Yeah, and eventually I'll have the report sightings. I'll give people the option, because I don't want to spam people. But if anyone that really wants all the sightings, like I'll send it to you. Like when it comes through, I'll send it. I can't guarantee that someone's not going to put garbage there, because, you know, if you want to put garbage there, you can. But, you know, hopefully it's for real people that are really interested in the subject, that don't want to just cause a bunch of noise, right? That's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for really people that want to figure this out, that are dedicated. Yes,
enjoy the journey.
Yes, it's $4.99 a month, but I'm telling you, the cost is it's not that much, and from my end, it's it's way more.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put a lot of love and care into it, so it's my baby now. But it has the ability to grow. It has the ability to scale. I designed it to where 500,000 people could watch this stuff at one time, right? And it won't hiccup.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's ever going to get that big, but it's there. So it's, it's more about just people getting it out there. And like I said, growing active sites, and just go download it, play with it. I mean, if you really don't like it, just delete the subscription on your phone. You're really only losing $4. So, I think I lose more than $4 every day. So buying little stuff for my kids.
Yeah. Oh, you're winning with that.
So it's all good. But yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting, I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm meeting Mary, meeting Todd. I'm getting a good group of people together that are passionate about this. So it's really a passion of people that are passionate and trying to figure this out and want real data and want collaboration and don't want a bunch of people just bickering and fighting with each other. We can all look at the videos, we can all look at the clips, we can all look at the data, and we can come to a conclusion, right?
Exactly.
So we should have it all, and I think that's the closest we can get to university study, in my opinion.
Right.
And then, maybe if we get some traction, we can get some people engaged in that area that want to donate like super advanced equipment. I'm all for that.
LiDAR.
Anything, I haven't done a Kickstarter or any of that stuff. I'm just trying to get it going grassroots, to be fair, and not trying to beg people to donate, or you get what you get when you subscribe. And then if you have things you want to see, just let me know. Or like I said, if you don't like something, let me know, right? But I think it's needed. I think the community's been needing it for a long time, and if we can get a lot of good evidence out of this, why not, right? Like,
Absolutely.
what's it going to hurt other than people coming up with stories saying I saw Bigfoot? We've heard that thousands of times. Let's prove this. Let's get this out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can testify, and Mary can too. I've been talking to Logan a long time, vetting him, and I'm sure he's been doing the same with me and us too. And for the integrity of Grandpa Bigfoot, it's been a long journey getting here. And I can just testify to his just a good, humble man, just a good man.
Yeah.
So he's this is a good, honorable, safe thing with good intentions.
I agree.
So
I agree. That's why I'm behind it. Because
yep.
I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, and
I brought this to Mary too to get her input, and she's like a mom for me. You'd be Bigfoot mom, and then there's Grandpa Bigfoot. You're Bigfoot mama.
That's right.
Well, I'd love for someone to catch some really good footage that I didn't catch on the processing, and name it after whoever does it, right? Because it's gonna be their footage. It'll be their catch, not mine, right? So that's what we'll do.
Right.
And guys, remember, if you're disabled, if you're invalid, this is a way that you can get involved in a very important way. So please, check it out for a month. It's worth a try.
Yep. And we get nothing out of it. None of us do. It's just our passion for what this is. And I believe in Logan's idea and what he's trying to do. And just, I just gleamed onto this. It's like, wow, holy smoke, what a great tool. It's like, wow.
Yeah, Todd approached me about this, and then Bill approached me separately and unknown to either one. And so I said, okay, let's get on this.
But yeah, either way, super. Thanks for having me on, Mary.
You're
Good
welcome.
always talking, Todd.
you
Appreciate the
too.
kind
Yeah.
words, and you guys are
That's
great.
true.
I appreciate everything you guys are doing to
Welcome.
push this forward too. So, like everybody working together, that's the only way to do this.
Yes.
Yep, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Well,
Well, you take care.
get to your family.
All right.
Thank you, Logan.
Night,
Take
everybody.
care. Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
And yeah, it's this is so important. It truly is. And who
And
is
fun.
yeah, Tracker. I would absolutely love to see if you have that, if you would be willing to share that. I would absolutely love to see that. My email address is at the top of the description. So if anyone wants to send me information, I'd be happy to check it out. That's amazing, Tracker. I really would love to see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna jot that down. I may have already just subscribed it. I am just behind on. You know how Bigfoot can take your life and your time over, and I'm a little behind on some of this stuff. So Tracker, yes.
Okay, I think. All right, I think I did. I am subscribed to your channel. I know that. And I have checked that out, but I must have missed what about your translation. Interesting. Okay, can we? I'm going over the comments here because I don't want to miss anything. Okay, all right. She has Patreon page, and she'll be putting up all the most common for free. Okay.
That would be really interesting, those translations.
Yeah, that would be fascinating. I'm going to have to really get in there. I hardly have time to check out, my friends' YouTube channels and Todd. Yeah, I know you've got so much content on yours, and I still haven't seen all of your videos, and all the different podcasts that my friends have, and
yeah, yep.
But no, I have to make time.
So this event coming up, should I reach out to Dave?
I think Dave said he was going to reach out to the event coordinator.
Yeah, Dave Yaney, right?
And
or maybe I'm not supposed to say a name. I don't know. I just did.
He was going to reach out to him and see, but he hasn't said anything yet. So,
okay. All right.
But check it out with Dave. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they've found anyone yet.
Oh, I'm sure they probably did.
But but most likely, yeah. They still have my name up.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I was not happy. I really dragged my feet about backing out because I
bet it was agonizing. I'm sure.
Yeah, it really is. But I have to be truthful with myself and know that I can't do it. I cannot do it this year.
Yeah. That's too bad.
You have those translations up on your playlist titled Cryptid, Kana, and Kanji or Kanji. All right, I'm going to have to check that out, Tracker.
You're going to have to get that person on your show, Mary. You're missing an opportunity here.
Yes.
Because I'd be very interested. I'd be interested in being on with that, or definitely watching, because you can tell by the chat, there's a lot of other people that are seeing this common stuff as well. And it'd be interesting to see somebody took the time and energy to try to put something together.
Yeah.
I think that there's something there. I strongly believe it. I don't know what it is, but there's something there with it.
Yeah, I have searched through proto-language, not just, ancient language, but proto-language, and so many other runic shapes and forms, and and so on and so forth, trying to decipher, make some sense out of it. And my attention is so divided among 50,000 other things, I just cannot devote it to one thing anymore.
Right. I know I'd be really interested. So I have a lot of, maybe you can see a little bit in the background, but I have a lot of artifacts, not just Indian artifacts. They're more like archaic. And I'm finding some, Mary, you've seen some that strikingly look like an ape.
Yes.
And
yes.
So I confirmed this weekend. Well, can't confirm, science would have to confirm it, but strongly believe that I'm onto the right hypothesis that these are celestial alignment tools. In other words, for navigating ultimately to find Polaris. And now you know where you are in your world, because the next set of stars rotates the least, and you have to map to know where you are for a million reasons. But the point being is, I'm finding that when I study this archaic stuff, again, in primitive hunting, how that skill set works with these creatures, and it helps me learn things there. That helps me learn there. And this is all purposeful, and it makes sense that if these things obviously are clearly intelligent and clearly have an enormous sense of humor.
Yes, I know that. I know for an absolute fact.
Oh yeah, that they're why wouldn't they communicate? Well, we know that they communicate. The tree knocks, all that stuff, the tree manipulations. Why wouldn't there be? Yeah, absolutely. Was it Scott Nelson that confirmed that it was the phenomes, that it was a language, that former Navy?
Yes, a cryptologist.
Yes, thank you. Linguist, yeah.
Cryptolinguist.
Yeah. And it stands to reason that there would be shapes, forms. I mean, we were doing it way back when with, just to read papaya and clay.
Yeah.
Hey, this dried, and next thing you know, it's a for sale sign because I'm selling my Yugo.
There's the written language, which would be the stick structures, runes and glyphs, and then the verbal language that they have that Scott is currently working on deciphering what their language. I don't know if he's had any success at all on that. I have no idea.
And he probably has, but you know how it is, kind of like those effigies that I have. It's hard to bring forward to the community because you get crucified once or twice. It makes you, really resist it. Now around a campfire, just, hey, what do you think? What if? That's fun, but how do you get it to the next level?
Yeah. My dog is pushing me.
I see that.
She's taking up like more than 3/4 of my chair and pushing me out.
She wants you to do something like nudging you towards her dish.
No, she just wants the chair to herself.
That's too funny.
But no, let's see. Let me go back. Northwest Tracker. If you can contact me, if you would like to appear on my podcast, let me know. Again, my email is in the description, or else if you're on Facebook, just contact me, send me a message, and love to have you on, talk about your findings, your research. Todd is great for campfire talks. Yes.
Yeah. And Patty makes outstanding cookies, and she always brings me lots of them.
Yes. Patty is very good at that. Yes.
Yeah.
Love having her on our camp outs and everything. Just love Patty.
Yep. She's a go getter, and she's got to have some great audio too at this point.
Oh yeah. The different things that just an amazing talented lady that she has no idea how talented she is, but I'm shouting it out there.
Yep. And I like her method of how she does that, and I think that's why she's successful too, because she's trying to find the right words. Words are hard. She's not intrusive, because if I recall, she's not watching them. She's only listening through.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's clever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she. I think she sits on her front porch or else up in her bedroom window and listens out. That's her listening post. And
with headphones, hyperbolic dish.
Yeah, right. The hyperbolic, the bionic ears.
Yes. Yep. Well, what else did you have in the chat? I think we owe whatever the chat. Because I know I like being in the chat and banter.
Yes. I want to make sure you're okay, because you said you have to get up at 4 a.m.
Yes, I do. Thank you for the reminder. I probably got about another 10 minutes. I still have a truck up on jack stands, and I'm driving that at 4:30. So
Goodness.
I have that to do yet.
Oh, boy. Okay, let me backtrack here. Okay, from the shizzle. Thank you for putting in the work, investigation time with research and everything. It's definitely time consuming and definitely more than just a hobby to be true to. Yes, absolutely. It's more than a hobby. It has become my job. Todd owns a business, and that takes up a lot of his time, unfortunately. But I'm happily retired. So for the past years, I've been able to devote most of my time and too much of my money, too much of my husband's money,
and his time.
Yeah. He takes he'll take me on drives, and because we're down to one vehicle now, and because whenever I say I want to check out an area around here, he'll come along with me, and we'll drive around, and whenever I say stop, he stops, and he sits there patiently, and he's great.
He supports you, doesn't he?
He does. He truly does.
I'll get myself back here. Sorry, I was getting parched. Mary, remind me how long you've been doing this. I know you've been an experiencer your whole life, but I mean, kind of like the level that you're at now. How long?
Let me see. Whenever I had my first experience whenever I was a kid, and then there was a few decades where I had a completely different life, housewife, mother, etc., and living in the suburbs and did nothing. And then I married Lou in 2004 and moved north of Pittsburgh, and that's whenever the activity started right then, as soon as I moved in. And it caught my attention and just grew, and I had to dig and figure out things on my own, because I had no idea that there were other people out there, who knew what was going on. And by the time I found out that there were groups on Facebook, I got on those and tried to talk to like the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society and BFRO. You know, I tried to talk to those people, but unfortunately, I'm a peon, so I wasn't
We
worth.
all are.
Yeah, so I wasn't worth speaking to. And so I found a group of researchers, the Bigfoot Outlaws. It was primarily Kumbo there, and they were able to answer my questions and get me on the path of, you know, okay, yeah, this is confirming what I found on my own over the past 10 years previously, because it took from 2004 until 2014 whenever I found the Outlaws, you know, just learning on my own up through those years. And whenever I ran into them, it was confirmation, you know. So hey, that's where it was.
You know, it's interesting, similar journey. And when we had our, you know, pull the mask off encounter, no more denying it, actually on this farm that we were leasing to hunt, was 2014. And, you know, the one fella had a physical sighting as well as the three of us at the same time. We were interrupted their organized deer drive. And that, I just started listening to Bigfoot Outlaws, and I remember listening up in the camper that night. Nobody could sleep, and playing that podcast, and they started talking about the owls, and that's exactly what. So yeah, they were so validating. I learned so much from them that just got the ball rolling, and being in the woods, and every time I go, I get schooled. I get schooled every time I go out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wind Clan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to bring your attention to Wind Clan.
Yes. Yes. So I'm certain Mary does too. So that Salamanca, Allegheny County, New York, Potter County. I'm forgetting the name of the county that Bradford's in, but all around.
McCain.
Thank you. The Seneca Nation of what it is today. All the stories, and Dave Wargo is really good with those stories and has a great relationship with them.
Yeah.
And when we're up at the those few times I was up at the Bigfoot Festival in Forest County, a lot of those people around there and people related to the nation and from the nation will share stories, and they have so many. And historical ones. I go back to David Cusack, just like the actor John Cusack. Make sure I'm not switching the two around. But Google stone giants, and those etchings that he compiled while, let's just say, he was cataloging these various oral legends of different things within the Iroquois nation. And so to me, it was kind of like being a crime scene artist, your witness describing what they saw. And he did these drawings. And I believe that was published in 1855. And you look at these diagrams based upon the lore and what these, and he was a Tuscarora Indian, but you know what the Senecas, the Cayugas, and all them were telling him what they saw. I mean, it looks like a Bigfoot with all the descriptions and those actual etchings. So in other words, lithograph prints to make prints are in the New York State Museum up in Saratoga, which is something really interesting to see. And to me, it was, that was published in 1855. And the stone giants, I don't believe it wasn't because they thought that there were anything to do with the mud, that could be. But, you know, they only had sticks and stones back then. And if you were trying to, you know, kill something like that or defend yourself, and, you know, all you had was sticks and stones, and that ain't working, well, they must be made of stone. It makes perfect sense. I know she's back there like, what are you doing?
She's pushing me off my chair.
Yeah. She's looking at you like, you're taking my chair.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
But yeah, look that up, and I think you'll be amazed. And there are several images and variations of it, but they're all his. And it was published, I'm pretty certain it was 1855. Therefore, the artwork was started before that. I just find that as some real tangible evidence. Do you have any related to the Senecas there that answer his question a little bit?
Let me think. I know I had Dave Wargo on, when was it? About a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I urge you to, you know, everyone to, you know, go back onto that podcast, and he's a fount of information and stories, not only on, you know, from the Seneca Nation, but locally, you know, northwestern Pennsylvania. But as for the Seneca Nation, I know we had done quite a few research trips right along the state line, that right at the reservation, and we crossed over into the reservation a couple times. Not very far, because don't, you know, out of respect, should, you know, ask for permission and so on, you know, whenever you get in there. And but yeah, we've found quite a bit of evidence, structures. Let me see, one gentleman that I spoke with, he showed me, he was trying to think of the name of the park. There's a park just over the line. And he was driving through the park, and he said that he saw a Bigfoot standing by a tree, and it was facing across the road, you know, just looking across the road, you know, as he passed by. And so, you know, I had him show me exactly where it was standing, and I told him, face the way that it was facing, you know, just put your body and face, you know, what position was it in? And he did. And I said, okay, the way that he's facing, I said, I bet you anything there's a game trail across the road. And so, you know, he went over, and yeah, there was a game trail right over there. And I said he was watching deer or something over there. He was waiting for you to pass by so he could continue his hunt. And but and offhand, I can't remember what color it was. I think it was a lighter colored one, maybe even a gray one, from what I recall. Now, this has been about 10 years since I spoke with him on that, you know, just going by memory. But he had a fantastic research area of his own up there. Oh, goodness, I'm about to fall on the floor. I don't grab onto the chair, else boom.
Yeah. Need a seatbelt.
Yeah, really.
But no, that is a great area, and
it is.
I like listening to a lot of different podcasts, people's encounters, because the parallels, that it's like, I mean, it's uniform behavior that you would expect an animal to do. But anyways, there's so many out of that area, and honestly surprising how far north it'll extend towards Buffalo.
Yeah.
And it's the waterways that are there, and it ends up going right through the Tuscarora National Wildlife Refuge, and then right on up to the Tonawanda or the Tuscarora Reservation. No, that's not it. I'm not thinking of the name right. But anyways, it starts getting up towards Lake Ontario, and the historic sightings that are there, and it's because of the apples and the salmon, and that waterway that ends up going right back down to the Salamanca, Olean, that Northeast PA.
Right. And then you think of when is it February through March, early March, the salmon start running. And so all the fishermen go up along Lake Erie, all the creeks along there, and big time fishing for the steelhead.
Yep. And
I'll bet you anything that there's quite a few Bigfoot sightings during that time. But so far, I haven't been able to get anything from any fishermen from up there, even though I was dating at one time a professional, steelhead guide.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in fact, he wrote a book called Steelhead Guide.
Wow.
But yeah, he never mentioned anything about Bigfoot, but moose out in Montana, he was chased by a moose at one time. But
yeah, that's scary. Well, I think too that like when we're in a creek like that, our focus is so much on, especially when you have waders on fishing like that, hyper focus of where you're walking, paying attention to the water, your environment, and there's a sound that just envelops you, which is wonderful right there. But it drowns out so much up on the edge, out of the water. And you know how they watch us before, they see us before we see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
tracker. Yeah, you're right. They use clay, and I think that they roll in the clay.
They could very well be as also.
Yeah, to like armor, like Tracker says, it's armor. And who knows? They may have used that against the natives' arrows. Who knows?
All the above. But I know that even with my Matthews, or a crossbow, to try to smack one of those, and the way it would probably react, pick its teeth with an arrow. Was it made of stone? You can't kill it. I mean, all the above makes sense, including the mud and
the mud and fixing stones in their hair. Yeah,
there could be a deeper metaphor to that legend of fixing stones to their hair. I wonder if there's something deeper to that, and that be above my pay grade. I would love like an elder or something to school me on that.
Yeah. Really would.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, tell you what.
Yes, you're right.
I think I don't want you to be driving wherever it is that you're going at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Too tired. I want you to get your rest.
Well, thank you. And it was fun being on here. And
it is always. Yeah.
We gotta do that audio. That audio is so cool.
Yes.
And I don't know how to boost it more other than when I was thinking about this, other than when we're on, just tell people to, you got to turn it up. I'd be curious, Mary, do you have any idea how the majority of your listeners view this? Like, are they watching on their phone, a laptop, logged into their TV? How do they consume?
Yeah, I was just looking at the stats. YouTube sends me the stats, and I think the majority watch over their phone.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's the television, and then laptop or whatever from there. But the majority is through mobile phone.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot that happens. Trouble with the evidence is we kind of like develop this like bias looking at through the phone. It's like, and you'll hear me say this lots of times. Somebody will send a picture. It's like you'll hear me. Well, I cast it onto my big screen TV, and that's when I start playing with it because
Right.
how can you tell anything on this tiny little thing?
You
know?
can't,
and you can't hear either.
Yeah, I can enlarge it just so much, on my
Right.
phone screen. But to really look at it, yeah, I put it up on my television, and because I've got a 60-inch television and
Ooh.
on there, and there we go. But I know I was going to say something else. What the heck? I don't know.
How people consume the videos, or something about the stats or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
COVID brain fog.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. For me, I'll blame it on that. Now I'm the last one to give technical tips because I'm not very techy, but there's multiple ways to be able to cast onto your phone, within your phone, through Roku, but good old fashioned way. And I got this for grandma, Bigfoot, and it just, will plug right into your phone. So whatever your lightning or whatever, and you can get a 20-foot cord and the HMDI, plug it in the back. And there's whatever's on your phone screen is now on your TV.
Yep.
But now you can play the volume through that. You can scroll. Right. It's a low tech ways. Those things are, I think, depends on the length of the cord, but I think one I got was $35, and the last time I got it, I think it was under $20. And it sends the audio and the video, and it was even on an older TV with the HMDI. So when you're in your remote, you have the HMDI 1 and 2. Well, you just put it on the one that maybe you got to unplug the DVD player that you don't use anymore anyways.
Right.
And great way to look at your pictures.
Yeah.
So there's my tech tip of the day.
There we go. I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
Your audio recording.
Yes.
Is it from a video, or is it all just audio?
I have. Hopefully you got those emails. I have them both. So one's a link to my YouTube channel, of which, and I'm just learning iMovie, and it didn't, a lot of those goofy effects I didn't do. I'm trying to get them to go away. But anyways, I made photos with the audio. So the next morning, the photos and video is as I'm analyzing the physical evidence, but I had no idea what I caught on audio. I knew I was going to have something.
Well, if you have on your YouTube channel, I can just bring it up on YouTube.
Well, I can do that real quick and be a teaser, and then I'll have the individual audios that we could do kind of supported another time. And I want to acknowledge Bill from your group. He helped me with that audio, and I'm very grateful. And it's compressed too.
Wow. He's so very good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm not prepared for sticking over to your channel right now.
And I don't.
There's Jerry from Old Line Cryptids. Good to see you, Jerry.
Oh, hey. Well,
good to see you. Well, I better let you go so you can.
I'll just say the name of this video really quick because we came this far. I might as well bring the train into the station.
Yes.
So it's the one that's on my channel that you see the red. So that's the handprints that were on the tailgate when Logan and Bill came and to do the cameras. And it also that handprint. So it's on my YouTube channel. So it's made it at the background is the audio. That's the sound of them breaking the branches. And people can go to my channel, see that. It's Bigfoot, New York Todd or Bigfoot NY Todd. And I'm there. It'll come up with Todd Standing a lot because he did an investigation in New York, and he's got, the algorithm finds him, but I'm there.
Yes.
I'm there,
Yep,
and
just type in Bigfoot New York NY Todd. Bigfoot NY Todd, all one word.
yeah.
No
Yep.
spaces, and that's Todd's channel.
Yep.
So that's how you'll find his channel, guys. So get in there and look for that.
It's some great audio. This thing is like 12 inches away. I mean, you can hear me yawn and just going to sleep, and the recorder is just outside the window right there. You can hear me, my CPAP machine going as I fall off to sleep. It's breaking branches off the rhododendron. It's like it's popcorn, and you can hear it walk in. There's tree knocks, there's grunts.
Who knows? It may have been popcorn. He was sitting there watching that.
Yeah. Yep. And the gifting that's been going on in that spot. There's a whole lot. We could make multiple documentaries just on that area between the house and the garage. the things that happen right there.
Yeah.
It's and we were talking about knowing that those creatures are still there, but not figuring out what that thing was that moved by Logan's camera. Well, that bedroom that I stay in next to Grandma Bigfoot's, I mean, besides that they were hitting she's texting right now, slapping the side of the house, and that's why that side right outside there, that's why I put the recorder out there. Well, I did one of my Bulbavernics curiosity catchers with the polycarbonate put on that window, and she said there's already handprints on that, and that camera would be 40, 50 feet, behind it. That bedroom window, there's now an air conditioner, and one of those rocks that you'll see in my video that I moved because you can hear it walk on it. Now that piece of cobble is sitting up on the air conditioner unit.
Yeah. She sent me a photo showing that.
Yep. I feel like they're waiting for me to come back down.
Yeah.
With that, because of that room. I mean, the attention that they're giving that room.
Yeah. I don't stay there often enough. For them to associate me with it.
Right. I mean, similar to like what they do with her in the smaller degree is what I'm saying. I mean, they definitely pay huge attention to both of them, especially her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, I think we're gonna, end this here. Oh, thank you,
Gary. Thank you. That was smart to do.
Yes.
I'm not real techie. Logan has his hands full trying to work with me.
Oh, smash that like button. That's right, Jerry.
That's right, too. Yep. And go to your multiple devices and hit like on those. I saw you mention that the other night.
Yes.
Because that was my trick. You go to multiple devices and
all my different channels. And
Yep. I do that for you. An old line too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, get the numbers up. Yep. All right. Well, you get some rest.
I will. And I want to acknowledge Dave Wargo's dad passing, and our condolences to him. And his dad saw a creature, got a good Class A sighting at Grandpa Bigfoot's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. Well, God bless them, and we'll keep Dave in our prayers.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to schedule you for a future.
Yeah, podcast. I'll be around.
We're filling up fast. I've got June, I think, all booked up. Getting into July bookings now. But okay, well, you have a good night.
I will. You too, and everybody in the chat. Good night, and thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. And I think next week is Victoria. We have Miss Vicky from Muddy Creek Podcast.
Oh, cool.
She will be on, the fabulous Miss Vicky. Love her. I've known Vicky for quite a while now, a few years.
Bigfoot Outlaw?
No, she's
Okay.
no, different Vicky. Although
Okay.
I've met her also. A different Vicky. This one, she's from North Carolina, and lovely lady. Retired law enforcement, and I think she's still working for, might be animal control now. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her. But fantastic, beautiful, gorgeous lady. Oh my God.
Did she used to serve subpoenas or warrants or not that? There's another name I'm looking for.
A process server.
Yes, thank you. Is
Uh,
that the same?
I have not a clue.
Okay.
Not a
All right.
clue.
All right.
But yeah, her podcast is Muddy Creek Podcast. And yeah, Gary, Miss V is the bomb. Yes, she is. Freely admit it. Yeah, gorgeous lady. Okay, Gary says Selena Garrett is the process server from Southern Bell.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
I've never heard of her.
Yeah.
What is
Oh,
she?
that's a really interesting interview. Really fascinating.
She a Bigfoot experiencer?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Great encounter and great story.
We're up.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, well, all right, guys. We'll see you next week, and you have a good evening. And if anyone has any prayer requests, message me, please. Let me know, and because I have my usual people that I've got on my prayer list, and including you, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week, and God bless. And Monkey Wench and Todd, we're out.
Bye.
Bye.